Testing. Testing. Wait a minute. Blink droids.
All departments reporting full mission readiness.
Let's get this one. Oh, I don't remember what was happening.
Mr. Diaz, I understand you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock.
I have.
It is imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments, but I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association with him. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with.
Commander Chovak, is there anything you do enjoy?
I take pleasure in the satisfaction of a job well done. I suggest you try it sometime. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
Was that a joke?
No, couldn't have been. One nice thing about Vulcans, Chovak is the only person who didn't look at this and treat me like I was something to pity. Doc says I should get used to it.
Hey, you won't get pity from me. I think it makes you look tough. As tough as you really are, that is.
And that makes you sound pretty smart. I might need you to save me from myself next time, though. Come on. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Ready to go?
All set. Let's run the diagnostic. So, I know about your talk with Miranda.
You do?
She sent me a Priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation. I'm happy for you. Both of you.
Thanks.
But I'm only going to tell you this once. Don't screw this up. Because I would be very unhappy if you tried this out and then, I don't know, 6 weeks or 6 days later, I have to start splitting holidays between the two of you. All because things went south and you're not on speaking terms.
That's not gonna happen, okay? And why are you even going there? We haven't even gone on a date yet.
I just want you to know where I stand. I like my friends and I like our group. I don't want to lose that. Is that thing done?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown. The backup relays are all intact.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that. But how did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something. Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point.
8 minutes.
No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
The warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation. Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code. Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked, or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I'll check the nacelles for a cracked coil.
Where's that? Scanning. Close up. So. Scanning. Fast. Wait, what's that? Which one is this shit? Understand what I'm supposed to be doing.
I checked every coil on the port nacelle for imbalances. If any coil in either engine were cracked, I would have detected it. So, it must be the navigation array.
Except it's not. Checked and double-checked.
Well, the readings don't lie.
Here comes the security detail for the way team.
Hey.
Hey.
I'm not here.
We're escorting the negotiating team to the surface as soon as they come down from the bridge. I don't want to interrupt some important work. I was just hoping to see you before I go. The captain and the others will be here any minute now. Should be an interesting ride down to the surface.
Well, we can't let the brass catch us slacking on the job. Just play along. This is a Mark IV outboard diagnostic panel used for troubleshooting shuttles and other medium-sized transport vehicles. Some people prefer the Mark V because it's one better, but the Mark IV is still one better than the Mark III.
That all sounds very technical.
Hey, Maris.
It
It's
is.
those button pushers you're always hanging out with?
And you're the phaser jockeys we always beat in Parisi squares, right?
All aboard for Hotari.
That another one of the captain's railroad things?
Gotta be. I just usually zone out by the time he gets to the whole, steam engines were the warp drives of their day part. Catch y'all later.
You don't want to miss your train.
I do have to go. Not gonna lie, I'd rather not leave right now.
Do me a favor. Come back safe.
Deal. Be seeing you.
Exilar Diaz. If you could float back down to reality, we still have a ways to go. All right, where were we?
So, the warp coils in the navigation array are fine, but the nav computer doesn't seem to think so.
I'm out of ideas short of field stripping the shuttle from bow to stern.
You wanna take this out of the shuttle and throw it on the bench?
Oh, real hands-on maintenance. I like it. Okay, the nav computer is patched into the ship.
The ship's computer can double-check our work. If the shuttle's nav computer is putting out false data, we'll know it.
Let's run through the shuttle's logs again.
Running now. Same. Warp field inversion and the cascade failure. However, the Resolute computer doesn't show the same subspace variance.
We're in the same conditions that the shuttle was in when it failed. Why wouldn't the ship's computer get a matching result?
What if the subspace variance was a momentary occurrence?
That's a possibility, and it would explain why the simulation under our current sensor readings failed to reproduce the issue.
But a subspace anomaly strong enough to cause a warp field collapse would leave graviton ripples for days.
Let's run with the momentary subspace variance theory for now. Roll forward to the shuttle's attempt to re-engage the warp drive. We need the conditions of space around the shuttle at the moment of warp failure.
Resuming simulation.
Error in warp field calculation.
Error.
Cochrane formula variables are out of range.
That right there. Take the shuttle sensor data from that moment.
Computer, why did the warp field calculation fail?
Warp field pressure returned non-orthogonal. Results are undefined.
That doesn't help.
Wait, what if we use a different ship?
Put the Resolute into the simulation instead of the shuttle.
Yeah, it should warp just fine. Unless... Computer, run the simulation with the Resolute.
Resolute simulated.
Computer, give me manual control on the warp power.
Static field intensity, warp 1.1. 1.2. 3. Warp pressure is destabilizing. Error in warp field calculation. The warp drive has experienced a system-wide cascade failure. Warp field collapsed. Subspace variance is out of tolerance. Cochrane formula results are undefined.
Bingo.
What-o?
The same moment when the shuttle failed to warp, so did the ship. Whatever happened to the shuttle just happened to us. The Resolute will not sustain warp.
We can't leave Hotari space.
Self-destruct.
Ambassador Spock, Captain Solana, welcome to Hotari. We are honored you've come.
Elf.
My name is Tylos Altaris, Minister of Diplomatic Affairs.
The honor is ours. And this is Commander Jara Rydick, first officer aboard the USS Resolute. You'll find she has a keen mind and unique insight into the dynamics between the Hotari and the Illidians.
We are honored to be here as representatives of the Federation.
I'm so glad.
These must be the representatives of the mighty Federation, the reigning authority in the galaxy. Or so we've been led to believe. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But either way, we're grateful you've made the time to come to our little corner of the universe.
And you are?
This is Galvin, and this is Sidron, the heroes of the revolt in the mines.
Let's hope this is the last time we ever have to come here.
If you'll excuse me.
I think we're about to begin.
Did you hear the arrogance from that guy?
Arrogance.
What we're walking into here. But that guy was something.
He certainly seems full of himself. No missing that. You could probably see it from orbit.
What a piece of work.
Remember, we are here at their invitation. We must remain deferential whenever possible.
Of course, but even that has its limits.
I wonder if I did his voice. Sounds kind of like him. I am Spock. And he walks off. They look like lizards.
Ambassador Spock, welcome to Hotari Prime.
The honor is mine, Your Majesty.
That the Federation would send one of their most respected representatives is not only an honor to the Hotari people and their queen, but a recognition of our stature and importance.
Let's get on with it, shall we? With all due respect to the Federation and their ambassador, they have no authority here. We are not members of their alliance. We are not subject to their rule, nor yours. We demand the immediate return of all mining operations to Illidian control, as it has been for centuries and will be for centuries more. That has always been our understanding.
That understanding has changed.
Then you invite war!
And if you cannot remain silent, you will be silenced. But his point is well taken. What is the Federation's interest in this matter? Perhaps you would have us trade
Weird
one
brown
oppressor
pants.
for another?
The Federation remains neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution of this conflict. We are here at your request, Your Majesty.
For now.
I get the sense she's cut from the same cloth as Galvin. I thought they wanted us here.
Was there something you wanted to say, Captain?
Oh, no. My apologies.
And what about the Kobliad?
She's not part
She
of...
can speak for herself, can't she? Then let her.
No, it's not brown pants. I don't know what it is, actually. Some sort of brown thing.
Now then, one should know their place. What you might be somewhere else is not what you are here. Which is standing before a queen. And a queen deserves respect.
Or something. I don't know what
A
it is.
bow is not too much to ask. Is Hotari Prime heart of the Hotari system?
My name is Commander Jara Rydek, Your Majesty. I prefer to be called by my name, not my species.
Then I suppose that makes us even. Commander Rydek. You are Kobliad. Your people suffered brutal treatment at the hands of the Cardassians. Their injustice towards the Kobliad is as unimaginable as it is unforgivable. Not unlike how we have been treated by the Alidians.
As much as they'd have you believe they are the victims here, remember it was the Hotari who attacked us. Hundreds of innocent Alidians were slaughtered without mercy in those mines.
The blood is on their hands, not ours.
Quiet!
Quiet.
If after all the Kobliad suffered, you finally had the chance to right that wrong, to get out from under their control, would you take it? Or would you negotiate a peace?
If the opportunity presented itself, and I wish that it had, more than you can know, then I would right the wrong without hesitation. For the sake of the Kobliad, we suffered enough.
Of course you would. It would be foolish to do otherwise. The Federation is the most powerful, most advanced alliance in the galaxy. It's widely known we have an abundance of dilithium in our mines. And it's in your interest to secure a steady supply.
Your Majesty, if I may.
Ambassador Spock would have us believe you're here as a neutral party in the interest of peace.
Yes.
So why are you really here?
Who knows?
I want the truth, not your Federation rhetoric.
As Ambassador Spock has said, we've come seeking a peaceful resolution to this conflict, and have no interest in your dilithium.
I'm not nearly as naive as you must think. The Federation has done business with the Alidians for decades, which makes me question your motives.
What they haven't said, but cannot deny, is a simple truth. The dilithium trade would not and will no longer exist without Alidian involvement. We created it for the benefit of everyone, especially the Hotari.
Switch people or something.
We've given them warp technology. We've let them share in the profits. We've made their lives infinitely better than before dilithium was discovered. All of that goes away if the Federation turns a blind eye to their treachery.
That is enough of your lies! The Hotari are quite capable of running the mines. We've done so for centuries. So tell me, who deserves control of the dilithium trade and the mines on Tau? Who should the Federation recognize? The Hotari or the Alidians? It can only be one or the other, not both.
If I have to choose only one, then it would have to be the Hotari.
Well said. How could the just and wise Federation make any other choice?
This is an outrage. The Federation has lost all credibility.
The mines are ours. Lydia will not be deterred. We will take back our mines by any means necessary.
And you will see more blood spilled.
I am more than willing to address your concerns, Your Majesty. Yours as well, Representative. But I suggest we could have a more productive conversation with a smaller group. Perhaps only the most essential representatives.
Sound that close. Because he wasn't around. This was made.
I suppose there is some sense to that.
I think.
I hope we meet again, Jara Ryan.
I don't. Get out of here.
Spock and I will cover everything on the diplomatic front. You make nice with the locals and see if you can get some answers. We need to find out why the Hotari are so willing to risk war. What happened in those mines?
Commander, I'm glad you've chosen to side with the Hotari. I knew the Federation would see through the Elydians' baseless claims and protect the interests of my people.
The Hotari have suffered enough at the hands of the Elydians.
I couldn't agree more.
I assume you were there the day the mines were seized from the Elydians.
Not seized. Reclaimed. And restored to their rightful owners. Yes, I was there. We had to be decisive. Before the Elydians could even realize their worst nightmares upon them.
I'm curious why the Elydians haven't fought back. They have the ability to retake the mines anytime they want.
Ability is one thing. Courage is another. The Elydians know any hostile action on their part will not end well.
It's like somebody threw a snowball at his head.
They respect one thing above all else, and that is force. The greater the force, the more certain the outcome. Any talk of making peace is just that, and worth little without the strength to secure it. Which makes me wonder about your ship, the Resolute. Undoubtedly the Federation's finest warship. Ready to contend with anything the Elydians might have in store. Or is that not true? Maybe I've misjudged it.
I wouldn't say state-of-the-art, but the Resolute is plenty capable and can hold its own against just about anything.
Let's hope so. Because at the moment, it's the only thing preventing them from wiping us off the map.
Sidron.
A pleasure meeting you, Commander. I'm sure we'll cross paths again.
Thanks. Talk to them. I gotta talk to these guys. They're mad at me.
I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, but these negotiations rely on the Federation's neutrality, as does any hope you might have for a supply of dilithium in the future. So, why you would choose to side with the Hotari escapes me. Without Elydian involvement, there is no dilithium trade.
We are and will remain completely neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution to this conflict.
As is ours. Of course, the question is, at what price? Major Solid Arminta, Special Attaché, Elydian Armed Forces. Pleasure to meet you, Commander. I have my issues with the Hotari, but I have to give them some credit. They know how to seize an opportunity. Inciting an uprising the same day as a massive, once-in-a-lifetime ion storm.
Our assumption was that this storm was just an anomaly.
Yes, a very convenient anomaly. At least, that was what we were told. Of course, I wasn't there. But who am I to say otherwise?
Something tells me there's more to the story. So what really happened?
Well, the official story is that it was the storm that enabled the revolt. How else do a bunch of unarmed, unorganized miners seize control of an entire moon, much less thousands of mines? But I've talked to people who were there. They tell a different story. They say they're lucky to have escaped with their lives. That it was more than just the storm. That somehow the miners were able to harness the energy from the storm. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not even sure I believe it myself. But that's what they said.
You just answered your own question. How do a group of miners do something that in theory can't be done? That's how. Harnessing the storm.
But even if it's true, how does that even happen?
You tell me.
If you'll excuse me, Commander Ryder.
Why did you fart?
Commander, if I could have a quick word with you.
Of course.
I'm encouraged to see the Federation supporting my people. I'm afraid of what might happen without your help.
I'm glad to hear it. I just hope you're not the only one who feels that way.
I apologize for that. These are unusual times, to say the least. Much is changing. I saw you speaking with the Illidian. I'm sure they're painting themselves as the victims?
The Illidians are under the impression the Hotari are somehow the cause of the Ion Storm.
Which I'm sure they attribute to our lack of experience or sheer inferiority. But we are as much the victims of this horrific storm as they are.
Uh-huh.
For the first time in our history, the
I thought you were
Hotari
coming
have
back
the
till
upper hand.
Sunday.
We see ourselves as
Isn't that what
strong
he said? He's
instead
gonna
of
try to
downtrodden.
Sunday or
New voices have
maybe
risen
not.
up. Old voices shouted down.
Oh, okay.
Calvin and Sidron have become national heroes. Now they have the Queen's ear.
Yeah.
Better or worse, depending on your perspective.
I get the sense you don't exactly trust them.
They're miners, not diplomats. I don't trust their instincts, which are leading us to war. My fear has been that the Illidians will launch an attack and crush us. You've seen their starship, no doubt. They could have retaken the mines whenever they wanted to, but it never happened. And as strange as this may sound, I'd almost say they're afraid. I just don't know what they're afraid of. It's still the same bluster and bravado you would expect from them.
Was it for fear of the repercussions, once the Federation became part of the equation?
Possibly. But I almost want to say this was from the very start, before engaging the Federation was even on the table. Since the day of the revolt, Galvin has seized control of the mines and restricted all access. No one's allowed without his personal authorization. And they've taken over a section of the palace with just as much secrecy and security. I'm told it could be something they brought back from the mines. I've made inquiries, but everyone pretends it doesn't exist. I strongly suspect they're hiding something.
Are you sure of this?
It's been the talk of the palace since the day of the revolt.
How can we know?
I'd better see what's happening.
Yeah, you better see what's happening.
Do you think you can find out what they're hiding?
Going crazy. Bringing pains.
I need to see proof of something before I can make my case to the Federation.
I can try, but even if I found it, I might not know what to make of it.
Take this. You can use it to capture whatever you find, and then send it to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will let you know what I find. And I look forward to our meeting again.
Ready for some action at this point. Alright, now what? Probably gonna get shot.
Well, that was a disaster.
What happened?
The Hotari refused to concede anything, so the Elydians stormed out.
The Hotari did not invite us here as peacekeepers. I hope your efforts were more fruitful than ours.
Careful, damn Star Trek towards me.
Gravitational harmonics failing to resolve. Warp bubble stability degrading. Increase output to maximum.
Increasing warp output to maximum.
It's happening again.
It is evident that presently, the Resolute cannot achieve warp propulsion.
Since our diagnostics rule out any problems with our warp systems or anything about the ship, the problem appears to be the fabric of space itself.
Space itself? You're saying something about this region of space prevents warp travel?
Prevents it, or can't sustain it.
However improbable, that appears to be the case.
The storm didn't stop us from leaving space dock and traveling here. But could it still be causing this interference with warp travel?
We must follow sound investigatory principles. Do not let an assumed conclusion drive your analysis.
Sometimes we need a little inspired thinking, Mr. Chovak. Captain Solano is on his way back from the negotiations, and I want to have some answers for him when he gets here.
Indeed. Given the facts at hand, we may be able to deploy subspace probes around the ship to construct a clearer picture of the phenomenon.
Around the ship. I'll prep a shuttle.
Grab a shuttle.
I'm setting up a waypoint at a distance roughly corresponding to the edge of our warp field. When we get there, I'll deploy the first probe.
Commander Westbrook, the Resolute systems are calibrated to receive the probe's readings. We are standing by to reproduce the warp field collapse after the first probe is deployed.
Thank you, Mr. Chovak. We'll be in position shortly.
And, Mr. Diaz, do take care in piloting the shuttlecraft. Now is not the time to indulge in the human penchant for joyriding.
There's a lot of...
Chovak probably isn't such a fun guy to work for, huh?
Seem to find a way to push his buttons. Yeah. I think he blasted me out of the airlock if he thought it would help increase engine efficiency by 0.1%.
Well, don't worry about it. Chovak's opinion isn't the only one that matters. Last time I checked, I was still Chief Science Officer, and you made a hell of an impression on Ambassador Spock. I'm the one who should be worried with this new first officer on board.
Oh man, so close. Screen.
This is far enough. Transporting the first probe into position. Westbrook here. The first probe is deployed.
Understood. We are reading it. We are about to replay the simulation.
just can't get a handle on her. Commander Rydek. On the one hand, she went with my idea to use a deflector pulse against the storm surge. On the other, she wouldn't listen to me when I was trying to get you through the hull walk alive. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the new XO. I'm sure she's a fine officer, even if we don't see eye to eye. But she didn't go through what the rest of us did. You know that. And it's hard to figure out why she'd be the one Solano chose instead of, well, one of us.
I've heard some good things. You should at least give her a chance.
I'll take that under advisement.
Test is running. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1, mark.
Whoa. All right, that is definitely a problem with the fabric of space. We need to get another probe out there. With 2 points of data, the Resolute and the probe, we've managed to get an interference pattern. I'm setting a waypoint to a particularly strong area of interference. We'll deploy the second probe there. Listen, I'm gonna give you a piece of advice I wish someone had given me. Make sure you're never just one thing. Don't get so focused on what's in front of your face that you lose sight of the big picture. Before Rydek showed up, the captain pulled me into his ready room and told me he didn't think I had the people skills to be first officer. What a load of crap.
Well, if you're asking, I think you're a people person. After all, here we are. Me, an enlisted officer. You, one of the senior staff. Talking like old buddies.
I should send Solano to talk to you.
Bring him on.
I'm sure you can handle him. You've got potential. You're a capable engineer. You're good in the field. Keep up the good work, and who knows? A solid jack of all departments like you could be Commander-in-Chief of Starfleet one day. Hell, Admiral Jellicoe started as a shuttle pilot.
I don't know. I'm pretty happy where I am.
You must be a glutton for punishment. Lieutenant Commander Chovak has been known to take decades to warm up to people.
Oops. Everything.
Here. This is close enough. Stop the engines. Deploying the probe. Westbrook to Commander Chovak. We're ready for another sampling of data.
Very good. Running the simulation again. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1, mark.
There it is again.
I saw it. It seems to be directional.
Well, what about the scans? Anything?
Here's the readings in relation to our local space. We've got the Resolute, Otari Prime, and the probes.
All this interference is overloading the sensor buffers. We're gonna have to triangulate the sensors manually.
Sure. Oh. Or. Yeah, I am.
We got something.
These markers indicate peaks in the gravimetric interference patterns.
Let's see if I can find some more.
must be, well, nowhere. There's another one. So there's no other controls besides. Or... So...
Hold up. This is coming from the moon.
A beam that blocks warp travel.
Aimed right at us.
Someone is doing this intentionally. I don't know how they're doing it.
Why would they be doing this? We came here to help these people. And now we're getting hit by some warp-killing weapon?
Now, look here. It's current readings of the ion storm.
These concentrations, they line up with the interference pattern. The storm and this beam, they're coming from the same place.
Carter, whatever petty local conflict brought us here, it's just a small part of something much bigger.
Something.
Presently, we don't have an explanation for how they're doing this. One thing is clear. This is no fluke.
Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. I want a full briefing when I'm back on board. Solano out.
Full briefs.
A targeted weapon that inhibits warp travel. Coming from the moon Tau.
That would explain the difficulties my shuttle encountered. More importantly, the tenor of the Hotari during the negotiations.
And here I thought the Illidians would be the problem. Coming to peace talks in a warship. This wasn't supposed to be so complicated.
We're right to be worried. If they're targeting the Resolute and we can't go to warp, that effectively leaves us at their mercy.
Which puts us in a rather difficult position.
Especially if they have more tricks up their sleeve.
Tylus, the Hotari representative, said she thought they found something in the mines. Galvin and Sidron brought it back to the palace, but they're keeping it under tight security. She's going to investigate it. I gave her my tricorder. I expect she'll contact us soon.
You found an ally.
Why would Tylus help us? Go behind her people's back? It's a fair question, considering.
She doesn't like the way Galvin and Sidron have been manipulating the situation. And the Queen. Working with us to go around them isn't the same as betraying her people.
That may be true.
She's certainly more likely to help than the other Hotari we've met.
That raises another question. Specifically, what do the other Hotari have to gain in bringing us here, only to make this hostile maneuver against us? There must be some motivation.
Sidron was very curious when we spoke outside the Queen's chamber. He wanted to know all about us, our ship, the Federation. He wasn't giving any answers. He was looking for them.
Well, I'm sure you didn't tell him too much. I don't think the Illidians know what's really down on that moon either.
Major Arminta said the revolt defied explanation. that the Hotari miners somehow harness the energy of the storm.
Harness the energy
Haven't been
of
much
the
action
storm.
going on lately.
Doing that is beyond even our capabilities.
So is a weapon that disrupts warp travel.
There have been civilizations and entities, both past and present, far more technologically advanced than the Federation.
The Illidians and Hotari don't fall into that category.
But that is all the more reason to investigate further.
Commander Rydek, sorry to interrupt. We've received an urgent call from Hotari. The Queen's advisor, Tylus, has asked to speak with you.
Put her through.
Galvin and Citron are still with the Queen. I've enlisted help to gain access to the room they have under guard. I don't have much time.
I'm not supposed to leave my post.
It's only for a moment. I so appreciate your help.
I found something. I'm sending you a scan.
Let's see.
Got it. Tylus, if we needed to gain access to the mines on Tau, is that something you could help us with?
I suppose it wouldn't be easy, but I have to go.
Tylus.
Can we reconnect?
Sorry, Captain. We've lost all contact.
We can only hope she escaped without harm.
It's hard to tell.
We have to help her. Send another shuttle.
We're not
or
doing
maybe...
anything yet. Not until we know more.
Yeah, 'cause I have to try to
Let's see the scan of whatever the hell that was.
Tylus suspects this came from the mines on Tau.
It appears to be of ancient origin, but the markings are unfamiliar.
We can run a full analysis when we get back to the Resolute. But if this came from the mines, then it might be the key to how they got the upper hand against the Illidians.
Then we have to go into the mines.
The Federation would not allow that. We're, after all, sent here to be a neutral party in a peace negotiation. However, we could demonstrate that the Hotari have acted in bad faith, which would enable us to investigate the mines on Tau with full justification. But of course, we would need conclusive proof before taking action.
Whatever this artifact is may be proof enough. At least to satisfy the Federation.
Especially if we can show the Hotari are controlling the warp disruptors and targeting the Resolute.
We may have a better understanding once we analyze the device. But a mission to the mines, covert or otherwise, is not out of the question. And I will handle the Federation.
Smart.
As I was telling Carter, I want all the data I can get on this warp problem. And the negotiating team's shuttle has been recording data all the way back from Hotari. Even better than our probes.
I say that.
So pull the sensor and engine ISOs from the mill.
I think I save it. No, I don't exit, but I want to save it. How do you do that?
When it sets down.
Will do.
I'll join you and Chovak down in engineering to run another analysis after the briefing.
How do I save? That's good. No way I did all that again. Why didn't it save it? Any sense? Ah, crap, I didn't save again. I don't understand how you're supposed to save it. There's no way in heck I'm gonna... dang. That's awesome. Well, I didn't want to exit it, but it didn't show me how to save it. Dang it. I don't know why they make it so difficult. That one didn't save it. Well, just gonna have to play the whole part again.